So Mick, we could call this the tried, the tested and the teenagers. It's your first squad of the new season, back to business and 40 players in a provisional squad.
Yeah, I know that's a ridiculous amount, but they're all the players who've pretty much been involved over the last few years. I don't know what's going to happen between now and the next couple of games. So we've got Saturday games, Tuesday games, Saturday, and then Saturday before we meet up. Players could get injured. There's a few players not playing. If they don't get games, that could affect my opinion on whether they should be in the squad or not. There are some who, I can't say they're just tried and tested and they've got to be in the squad, but there's the likes of Jeff Hendricks who didn't play on Saturday. But he's been brilliant, he's been one of our best players. Glenn Whelan signed for Hearts in the week and he hopefully will be involved on Saturday. He was different class in the games he's played in, so I've got to give them time and chance, and I really want them in the squad, but equally I've got to hedge my bets as well.
It's very much the start of a new season. You went away on your holidays, you had 10 points in the bag, you said you were going to be happy to be top of the group. How was the summer, first of all?
Well, the points are still there, they're prisoners, they're not getting anywhere. You know why I made that, that statement then. It was almost like a disappointment to some, I thought, at the end of when we got the 10 points. We hadn't played great against Gibraltar, but that was the target, and we'd achieved our target, and that really was the achievable one. Had we beaten Denmark in Denmark, that would have been unbelievable, 12 points. But as we saw in that game, that was unlikely. It was a great draw for us. So I enjoyed my holiday, enjoyed the break, but I'm ready to go again now and looking forward to the September game against Switzerland.
Galway for the squad announcement. You can start to sense now the
Correct.
excitement is building for Switzerland. This is a huge game.
I just said it's exciting for me. It's building for me as well. It's a massive game. It's games I've been used to. It's the Aviva now, but at Lansdowne Road, and putting yourself in a position where you've got a chance of qualifying, then it creates interest. It creates a good feeling, goodwill towards the team and to all of us, and I think that has happened. So we want to maintain that. We're certainly with a good performance, but hopefully with a win.
And the supporters, the Green Army as they're called, they can get behind the team now and make it that really special occasion.
Yeah, I think they have. I think there's the first two games, we all remember the Georgia game with the tennis balls, and don't want to remind everybody of that, but yeah, particularly because, and then the Gibraltar game, where there was a good crowd, good atmosphere, and it fizzled away because it was only a 2-0 win against a team that were pretty robust and stoic, and we perhaps should have beaten it by more. But I still think that the interest and the excitement came back, and people going away thinking, well, they've all had a go, they played decent, The interest, it's only what the feeling I get being in and around any part of Ireland, is there's a good interest about it, and especially with this game now, because Switzerland are a good side. They've been in the top, if I name a number, somebody will come back and tell me I'm wrong, but they've been in the higher echelons of the top teams of Europe for the last a good number of years.
And they are, on paper and probably on grass, the best team in the group.
Yeah, I'd say they are. How on earth they ended up drawing 3-0 with Denmark is beyond, because there were 3 up against them. Although the first goal they got, I thought it was handball, it shouldn't have counted. But then they ended up 3-0 and Denmark get 3 back in 8 minutes. Does that show a weak side to them? Does that show a soft belly to them? I don't know, because Denmark are a good side as well, and they kept fighting against them. So I'd say they're the top 2 teams. We've drawn with one already, we're at home. Let's see if we can beat the other.
A lot of attention in recent weeks on Troy Parrott, his pre-season with Spurs. He didn't feature in the Premier League opening match day squad, but you've included him in this provisional squad. You've Nathan Collins and Michael Obafemi there as well. Under 21 match on the Friday night after we play Switzerland. Temptation to use him for senior or have a look, or what's your feeling?
Well, I named the 40 players. I spoke to Stephen Kenny, and of course he's wondering if I'm taking any of his players, and I told him I've got those 3 players, Michael Obafemi, Nathan Collins and Troy Parrott, in the squad. But I said, I'm only going to keep them if I'm going to play them. Now, Troy got a lot of interest in the summer through the pre-season friendlies, but at the time, I didn't want to be pouring cold water on it, but pre-season friendlies are exactly that. Maybe they hadn't signed anybody, they wanted to have a look at him, because they deprived Tom Moore of him, of course, of his services. That was purely their way of having a look at him. And then did they sign somebody, Tottenham anyway? He wasn't in the starting lineup, wasn't even on the subs bench, nowhere to be seen. I'm hoping that's not going to be the case with him. It'd be lovely to have a Premier League footballer, Troy, playing at Spurs. But equally, as I think, when they start, they need results and they're not looking to try players out. So if those 3 players I've mentioned will all go with Stephen if I'm not going to play them. But me announcing them and putting them in the squad gives me that opportunity, and Stephen, of course, because we play Thursday, Tuesday, they're Friday, Tuesday, I believe. So whoever names them, they'll be around, and now we've got them for those 2 games. But more than likely they'll play with Stephen in the 21s, because equally, I don't want to deprive him of their services, because they want to qualify for their tournament, their finals.
And recognition as well for Doncaster Rovers, Kieran Sadlier.
Yeah. It was interesting. Grant McCann was there and he rang me last year and asked me if I knew him. I said, I don't. I know of him, but I don't know him. He said he's doing really well, he's only going to get better. And I've not seen him yet, but I've just been looking at their games and he's scored in pre-season, he's scored a couple of goals since. Darren Moore's their coach now and we both know him, TC and myself both know him. But TC spoke to him yesterday and he's really pleased with him, reckons he'll get better. So we'll be having him watched and we'll get to watch him ourselves.
A couple of Irish transfers over the summer. Callum Robinson, you went to see Sheffield United in their return or first game of the Premier League, and he was one of 4 Irish players in the Sheffield United team that day.
Yeah, I mean Callum was the one new boy in the squad. Chris had gone with his tried and tested, which I thought he would, with Enda Stevens at left wing back, Didsey, Dave McGoldrick playing up front, John Egan playing at the back in the 3. So Callum was the one. And I thought him and Didsey played well up front together. You know, Didsey get drops in and Callum can stretch them. But I thought they both did well. They took Didsey off after 65 minutes. It was brilliant seeing 4 of them playing in the Premier League. It's a bit of a cagey game. Not like the Sheffield United I've come to see, but that's been in the First Division and Championship for the last 3 years. Different league they're in. But they got a good result, and I was delighted for our 4 lads at the start of the season with a draw.
And of course, James McCarthy, you went to see him play for the Crystal Palace under-23s.
I did, yes. I flew there apparently. Flew there from my home 10 miles away in Bromley. I love all those things they tell me. Yeah, I went and I sat with Roy Hodgson watching the game. And it's interesting getting his feedback from him because we all recognise, both he and I recognise what a good player he is if he's fit, what he has been and what he can be if he's fit. So he played in that game and I thought he bossed the game, to be quite honest. He dictated it from midfield with his midfield partner, is it Camarasa that played for Cardiff last year? Forgot that right, anyway. They pretty much dominated the game, but the game wasn't of any high intensity. It's not like a Premier League or a Championship game. So, and I've spoken to him since via text message, and just glad he's back playing, and he knows he's got to get minutes into his legs, hopefully Premier League. So Roy's delighted to have signed him, but equally like me, he'll have to get him up to speed of the Premier League, not that 23 standard.
In terms of Danny Crowley, Terry's been to see him, you've had him watched a number of games this year, this season already, but his eligibility is still being finalised, and that's a wait and see.
TC's seen him twice, and I've seen him once. I saw him at Portsmouth when I watched Ronan and Marcus Harness play. Eligibility issue. Does he? We've got to make sure that he does, and that he's, fully qualified to play for us. And if he does, then we'll continue watching him. But he's just into the Championship, and he's done reasonably well. 3
weeks almost to go. It's getting close now, isn't it? It's going to be an exciting time between now and then.
It's one of those big games that you're really looking forward to. Great anticipation, I think, from everybody. Everybody can see what the prize is, having started well. And I think we're all feeling pretty confident about it. It's funny that we're doing well. We've had 4 games, won 3, drawn 1. Then we have, almost a 3-month break. So long as the lads who I want to pick are playing games, it's going to make it a lot easier. So some of them are trying to get in their first teams. But equally, I've been in that position and I was trusted as a player when I wasn't playing. I was at Millwall not playing, and Big Jack played me in the games. And it's that trust and faith in your players. If you can, don't get me wrong, I was fit and I'd been training, I hadn't been out injured. I just wasn't playing. So there's a dilemma there when you're picking the teams.